to see what ChatGPT would do with an idea I had in mind. I like the DC versus Vampires comic, and I really want to see what it would look like if they brought it to DC Universe Online. Of course, it's just concept; it's not real, but it would be interesting. They went for it. DLC overview. In the DC vs. Vampires DLC, players are thrust into a dark alternate reality where vampire plague threatens to engulf the DC universe. The once heroic figures of the Justice League and their allies are not immune, as a sinister vampire lord has set out to turn them into his undead minions. Players will need to unite with remaining heroes and fight against the bloodthirsty vampire mutants to restore light to a world on the brink of eternal darkness. This is an episode I would like to see released around Halloween, if it ever happened. It's such a horror-based storyline. I think I also want to see this series, so this is something I would try to do in the future, but for now we're in DC vs. Vampires. Storyline. A malevolent vampire lord known as Count Orlok has risen from the shadows, unleashing a plague of vampirism upon the world. The scourge is spreading rapidly, turning iconic heroes and villains into nightmarish creatures of the night. The heroes who remain untainted must join forces to repel the vampire invasion and put an end to Orlok's reign of terror. Players will explore an airy and corrupted version of iconic DC locations, uncovering the secrets behind the vampire plague, battling both twisted versions of their favorite heroes and villains, and ultimately confronting Count Orlok himself. Nice. New missions. So it's doing it the same way it did it in the previous video. The Undying Night. Objective: investigate the sudden appearance of vampires in Gotham City. Players will team up with characters like Batgirl and Nightwing to uncover the source of the plague and secure a cure before it spreads further. That sounds like a duo. So it starts with a duo, that makes sense. Infected Metropolis. Metropolis has fallen to the vampire plague. Join forces with Wonder Woman and Superman to fend off infected heroes and villains while rescuing survivors and securing key locations in the city. So this sounds like an alert, so that's pretty cool. The Dark League, a twisted version of the Justice League, now vampiric and malevolent, is wreaking havoc. Players must confront these corrupted heroes in a series of battles that test the range and strategy, so that sounds like the first raid. In the Vampire Slayer, the objective is to infiltrate Count Orlok's Gothic fortress to confront the Vampire Lord and his elite guards. The final raid involves navigating a maze of traps and enemies to reach the heart of Orlok's domain and end his reign of terror. It actually reminds me, one of the Lantern DLCs has a maze-like area, and traps could be cool, so like we see here is a duo alert and 2 raid that totally makes sense, and it kind of builds the story perfectly. So new features and gameplay. So let's see. New allies and enemies. Vampire heroes encounter twisted versions of popular DC characters like Vampire Batman, Vampire Green Lantern, and Vampire Flash. Each has unique powers and abilities enhanced by vampirism. So I'm not seeing them as actual allies, like getting them as allies in-game. I don't think this is where this is going. Allied heroes team up with non-infected heroes like Raven, Zatanna, and Constantine, who use their mystical knowledge to combat the vampire threat. So I could see like getting Raven or John Constantine as allies because they already have Zatanna. So it makes perfect sense to me. Unless they want to go the route of making alternate characters already and like make Vampire Flash or something, because it could be pretty cool. Ooh, vampiric powers, new powers available to players including enhanced speed, strength, and the ability to drain health from enemies. They could make this iconic boss, doesn't have to be a new power set. Special vampire themed abilities, okay, never mind, and transformation allowing players to temporarily become a vampire and gain unique combat advantages. I guess it being a supercharge. Cool idea. I don't think we'll ever see powers, but that's a cool idea. New gear and styles. Gear inspired by the vampire theme, such as dark and gothic armor, capes with blood red accent, and accessories resembling vampire fangs and bat wings. I don't know if they can do vampire fangs. I should probably ask on the forum, see if they can actually do that. Exclusive tiles for characters reflecting the vampiric and gothic themes of the DLC. That makes sense, but it still needs to be DC related. Special events, limited time events involving vampire visions and special vampire team challenges with opportunities to earn exclusive rewards and achievements. Now, I think if we had an actual open world that constantly get updated, like imagine if OG Metropolis and Gotham were constantly updated and more added to them, got bigger than they already are. And then you could make them kind of like they're doing it in Toontown, where they have invasions. So then you could have a set time, like a bonus way, the set time that they're going to take over, I don't know, OG Metropolis, and then everyone head there and kill the vampires, and there's bosses and stuff, like an actual invasion. And this could be like a season now when they actually replace the NPCs there as well. So an invasion, something we don't have in this year, which would be cool. The Vampire's Hideout, a new base location for players designed for the dark and gothic aesthetic, featuring unique customization options and thematic decorations. It's the first time I'm seeing a base coming out of ChatGPT, so a base inspired by vampires is cool. Could work for Halloween themes. And it's a thematic decoration. It could be cool. New feats and achievements accomplishing tied to DC vs. Vampire storylines, such as defeating corrupted heroes, uncovering the search of the plague, and completing raids on the vampire's lair. Nice. The conclusion is that the DC vs. Vampire DLC brings a dark and thrilling new dimension to the DC Universe Online, challenging players to battle against a vampire apocalypse and confront twisted versions of beloved heroes and villains with new allies, but we didn't say any allies, because it doesn't understand what allies are in this Universe Online. Powers and storylines, players will experience a gripping saga of horror and heroism as they fight to reclaim the world from the clutches of darkness. So again, thank you guys for joining me today. It was pretty interesting. Like, I would love to see a vampire storyline DLC, because it's happening in the comics. So let you guys know what you want to see below, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.